Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I think you're going to find this one interesting. So, we've been talking about this whole SEC thing. Now, this is one of those, by the way, this is one of those pop-up in bed moments for me. This, in the middle of the night, I woke up at like 4:50 or 5 o'clock this morning because I just literally sat up and did a search on my phone, and that's what led me to this, okay? This whole SEC thing is never going to make any sense, but it's starting to make a little more sense in my mind. Okay, so as you know, December 22nd, SEC charges Ripple and 2 executives with conducting $1.3 billion unregistered securities offering. Well, as we all know, the question here is why, we've watched that SEC chairman, Jay Clayton, we watched him and Hall, and I don't know, we can't talk about ongoing, discussions and investigation and all this kind of stuff. We've heard that kind of talk for years now. Well, something that I wasn't even thinking about, but it was brought to my attention yesterday, was the statute of limitations at the SEC. And again, I'm not an attorney, but I got a pretty good head of common sense. So just follow me here. So anyway, I popped up in bed and I was doing I was like, well, somebody had shown something about this statute of limitations. So let me look a little further into this. And I'm telling you, when I get done showing you what I'm about to show you, something smells fishy, even more than it did originally. Something's going on. I'm just telling you, what this is a plan. There's a plan in motion now. And I believe it's a good thing for those of us that are holders of XRP. But let me just show you. So here we go. So here's the tweet from the SEC, December 22nd. This is the word I had actually shown you the other day when this first came out. The word that jumped out at me is this word called disgorgement, this is the nature of the proceedings and relief sought. And then down here it says ordering defendants to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and pay prejudgment interest thereon, and prohibiting defendants from da-da-da. So anyway, then it goes imposing civil money penalties and da-da-da-da-da. Everything's civil, by the way. There's nothing criminal in here from what I remember, okay? So disgorgement, all right? Key takeaways. Disgorgement is a legal statute that seeks to make whole those harmed financially by returning ill-gotten funds from the wrongdoer. To be harmed parties, this sort of civil remedy seeks to prevent unjust enrichment, is often enforced by regulatory bodies such as the SEC. All right. So it's ill-gotten, financially by returning ill-gotten funds from the wrongdoer to the harmed parties. So you and I, according to the SEC, you and I don't feel like, we know this is all ridiculous, so we don't feel like harmed parties. I'm not a harmed party, but they say we're harmed parties, okay? And the remedy is to give us something, okay? Let's think buybacks, maybe? I'll get there. But first, let's look at this. So this is what I showed yesterday. This is from Crypto Mammy. SEC is out of time. Nice find. And what they were looking at is this statute of limitations. So I went and to double check it. SEC statute of limitations. SEC enforcement actions are subject to a 5-year statute of limitations, which provides that an action, suit, or proceeding for the enforcement of any civil fine, penalty, or forfeiture, pecuniary or otherwise, shall not be entertained unless commenced within 5 years from the date when the claim first accrued. I don't think it's a coincidence that Jay Clayton hemmed and hawed. I think that they were intentionally getting past this statute. Okay. Now, but there's something else going on here, and I'll show you, because when I did this statute of limitations search, something else popped up. this popped up. This is dated December 18th, 2020. Congress buries expansion of SEC disgorgement authority in annual defense budget. This is on December 11th, 2020. Congress fulfilled its constitutional obligation to provide for the common defense, passing the 60th consecutive year National Defense Authorization Act, H.R. 6395, buried on page 1238 of this $740.5 billion military spending bill is an amendment to the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. That amendment gives Securities Exchange Commission, for the first time in its history, explicit statutory authority to seek disgorgement in federal district court. It also doubles the current statute of limitation for disgorgement claims in certain classes of cases. Now, I'm no attorney, and what's red flagging me here is it says explicitly. It says, for the first time in history, explicit statutory authority to seek disgorgement in federal district court. Now, like I said, I'm no attorney, but does this mean that for the first time in history, it could send it to the Supreme Court? I don't know. I don't know all that stuff. Okay. The amendment appears to be a direct response to recent Supreme Court decisions limiting the SEC's authority. Okay. And it goes on and down here, it says, and it provides that a claim for disgorgement may be brought within 10 years of scienter-based violation, twice as long as the statute of limitations. As one congressman put it in reference to a similar provision in an earlier bill, this legislation would reverse Koch's decision by allowing SEC to seek disgorgement for certain conduct further back in time. The proposed amendment would apply to any action or proceeding that is pending on or commenced after the enactment of the NDAA. Now, I believe where there's smoke, there's fire, folks. And I think that I looked, I couldn't find it, but somebody that's listening to me is going to find it, because here's what I want to know. This is an amendment to this bill, and I don't know how to search and find out who sponsored an amendment, which congressman sponsored an amendment. So what would be really, really interesting is to go and find who the congressman or congresswoman or congresspeople who sponsored this amendment, because this is extremely relevant to what's going on with Ripple right now. And what are the chances? Is it just a coincidence that this just so happens to pass, or it passed Congress? Okay, and let's make sure you see what's going on. So on December 11th, Congress fulfilled its. They passed this bill. Okay, well, and here it is in the bill. By the way, it's section 6501, investigations and prosecutions of offenses for violations of securities laws. Well, guess who decided they were going to veto this bill? Trump vetoes colossal $740 billion defense bill breaking with Republican-led Senate. And then there's this. He had tweeted it out. This bill is a gift to China, Russia, big tech. It fails to terminate the internationally dangerous Section 230, won't allow us to bring our troops back home where they belong, renames and destroys our forts and national monuments, and makes 5G impossible. Okay, so all of this, there's something afoot. Okay, so if you look, so back to this. So this comes out on December the 18th, December 11th, this Congress passes this bill, and then the SEC puts this out on after this. What are the two things that the SEC put this out after? First was that bill passing Congress, and the second is the flare drop. And it just so happens that on December the 18th, they announced the XRP flare claim ratio. Now, why is this interesting to me? Because all of this stuff reeks of some sort of a plan to get all of these exchanges to halt trading of XRP. Remember, what I've been told since I began this channel and even before, it's not for us. Now, I'm not saying I know this for a fact. I'm just telling you what I've been told over and over and over. It's not for us. And then this, okay, this is back to this person. I don't know who this is. Says, I truly believe people are not meant to have XRP, and we'll see a time when XRP is delisted from retail exchanges. Perhaps it will be a buyback, exchange, redeem scenario, or perhaps a regulations issue. Regardless of the tech is now in place with a baked-in token. The snowball has been rolling for a decade. The ripples become waves. And then there was this part. How will the XRP buyback be enacted? Anyway, they go through all this stuff, and this isn't the first time I've seen anything like this. I've seen it several times. Now, back to which part did I want to show you? What is disgorgement? Disgorgement is financially returning ill-gotten funds from wrongdoer to be harmed to the harmed parties. So here you got this flare snapshot where they literally they literally took a snapshot of what would be the supposedly harmed parties. They literally took a snapshot of the quote harmed parties and their XRP. I mean, right before this guy files this, just by pure coincidence, they take a snapshot. So you know who the quote harmed parties are. And guess who was there? Guess who was there at the formation of Ripple? Jed McCaleb. And who did they exclude from the flare snapshot? Jed McCaleb, because he would not be a harmed party. He was one of the guys that created the thing. Am I wrong? Just thinking out loud, really, folks. Now, let me hit you with something else crazy, because I'm not done yet. So, seems like almost every week now we're finding out something else. Somebody else has a quantum computer. Well, these people don't just have a quantum computer; they've got a tiny quantum computer, and it solves real logistics optimization problem. This is, I think, someone in Sweden. Okay, the article's not important. The point is that where there's smoke, there's fire. This quantum thing's popping up every week now. I mean, like it's almost like it's here already. Well, all we've been told, we're not even supposed to be allowed to say the word quantum because, that's 10 to 20 years out. That's what they always say, right? And I don't pretend to be someone who knows technology, but I do pretend to be very commonsensical. And when I see smoke everywhere, and then I start to think, well, maybe there's a fire. Well, the smoke's everywhere. Okay, I'm going to show you more smoke now. Okay, because when I was looking at this defense bill, I said, well, what might be interesting is type in the word quantum in this defense bill. As long as we're looking at it with regard to the SEC, let's type in the word quantum. Well, here's what I found first. Use of quantum computing capabilities, the secretary of each military department shall, 1, develop and annually update a list of technical problems and research challenges which are likely to be addressable by quantum computers available for use within the next 1 to 3 years, not 10 to 20. Now, and here's the other thing. They're saying 1 to 3 years. Let me read that again. Develop and annually update a list of technical problems and research challenges which are likely to be addressable by quantum computers available for use within the next 1 to 3 years. This, folks, this is what they're telling Congress people and making available to the public. So if they're saying 1 to 3 years right here, then what is it really? What do they really have? What they really have was probably developed 5 years ago, is what that means. Which means in my mind that you could even have quantum computers being loaded up on these Elon Musk Starlink satellites right now, and for the last year you could have been seeing that. That's what that means. Okay, so that's the first thing that I saw. But what about the second thing I saw? Second thing I saw is assessing risk to national security of quantum computing. Remember that word, national security. Okay. Not later than December 31st, 2021, the Secretary of Defense shall complete a comprehensive assessment of the current and potential threats and risk posed by quantum computing technologies to critical national security systems, including an identification and prioritization of critical national security systems at risk. What could that be? What could that be in reference to? An assessment of the standards of the National Institute of Standards and Technology for quantum-resistant cryptography and applicability of such standards. Let me see what else we got. To cryptographic requirements of the Department of Defense. And then it says an assessment of the feasibility of alternate quantum-resistant algorithms and features. Now, I saw several words in this that remind me of some things. Let's look at those. Well, first thing that it reminds me of is even Treasury Secretary, this is from back October 12th, 2020, even Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin warned that Bitcoin will not be widely used in 10 years and could be considered a U.S. national security risk. Oh, well, I wonder what crypto, not a national security risk, is not a national security risk. So he said it could not be widely used in 10 years and a U.S. national security risk. I think Bitcoiners have always thought what he was talking about was that it was a national security risk because it was this threat to the financial system. I don't think that's what Mnuchin was saying at all. I think what they're really saying is that if our country adopted Bitcoin as financially, then it would be a national security risk because it could be taken out by a quantum computer. Because they're telling you right here, where's the part? Yes, right here. And complete a comprehensive assessment of the current and potential threats and risks posed by quantum computing technologies to critical national security systems. All right. And then we've got this. Remember this part right here? Assessment of standards. No, this one right here. An identification and prioritization of critical national security systems at risk. And then as we go down here, an assessment of the feasibility of alternate quantum-resistant algorithms. All right? Quantum-resistant algorithms. So let's look at this. This is what I showed you the other day. Look what David Schwartz was talking about at Swell with this guy. Some quality time with Joel Katz discussing quantum-resistant crypto. Okay, and then there was this. Remember this? I showed you this the other day. This girl was asking if it was a threat, if quantum computers were a threat, and Joel Katz, David Schwartz says it's definitely a threat. It's not that difficult to add new crypto algorithms to the XRP ledger. And then there was this. The main reason we haven't added quantum resistant algorithms yet is all the existing ones I know of have limitations. And then this is the Flare chief scientist. And what did she do before she was at Flare? Well, she was collaboration with Siemens on applications of quantum algorithms. Okay? So let's go back to this. Where does it say quantum? Yes. An assessment of the feasibility of alternate quantum-resistant algorithms and features. All the world's a stage, people. So then I get this from Crypto Cobra. I'm not done yet. And who pops up on the video that he sent me? This is a video at the Economic Club of New York, a virtual video during the current events. And the gang's all together again. Remember the video I've shown you in the past on stage where you've got Gary Cohen, who's right here. You got Jay Clayton, who everybody loves to hate right now, but I think may have just taken one for the team. And then you got Glenn Hutchins, who's on the board of the Digital Currency Group, who owns parts of Coinbase and Ripple. And these are the same three guys that were on stage when Glenn Hutchins was explaining to these guys, and he was agreeing, and this guy was acting like he didn't understand it yet. But Glenn Hutchins was explaining to him that about the value of the protocol and all of that. We've shown that many times on this channel. Well, watch what the one thing that Jay Clayton says he thinks is the most important thing and by the way, before I show this, look who else spoke at the Economic Club of New York. That would be Brad Garlinghouse. And not just anybody speaks at the Economic Club of New York, by the way. But here's what Jay Clayton said is the most important thing.
Comply with the securities laws, but, push the technology forward. And the area that is of particular interest to me and many of those regulators that Gary mentioned is the payment system. We all recognize that our payment system is inefficient. Domestically, it's inefficient. Internationally, it's extremely inefficient. So if we don't work and use technology to address those inefficiencies, the market is going to do it for us. And I think we'll like the outcome much better if we as regulators proactively enter that payment space, ensuring that all the time proven safeguards around AML, bank secrecy, anti-terrorism, and the like are there. So I see significant promise going forward, Glenn.
So what do you do if that's what you care about more than anything else? You try to prosecute the company that has been doing all of that, working on all of that. You only do that if there's a game being played, if it's part of a plan. It's the only way you do that. Now, just to drive the point home in two other ways, there are three words that Glenn Hutchins brought up. Now, remember, Glenn Hutchins is the alpha on this panel because he and Gary Cohen, these guys are connected all the way to the top. Three buzzwords, and words mean things, words that we've heard out of Ripple for years now. Three phrases and words that Glenn Hutchins brought up. He kept asking Jay Clayton about financial inclusion, climate change, and economic inequality. And so we've seen all of these words be used. Here's Ripple talking about financial inclusion. Here's Ripple talking about climate change. And we've seen this all over and over and over. Here's David Schwartz. He's talking about financial equality. Okay. Now, what else did I see in this video? There was one person in this video. Well, first, I'll show you one thing I saw just by coincidence, right? This is the lady who introduced these guys. And she's also the lady that introduced Brad Garlinghouse. Guess that's what she does. But let's look back here at the beginning of this. See if I can get all the way back. This lady right here that's on the panel, Barbara G. Novick, Vice Chairman, BlackRock. Well, that's interesting. Let me tell you why that's most interesting to me. Because remember the other day, 7 days before Jay Clayton files this suit against Ripple. 7 days. What does Ripple announce? Well, Ripple announces that they have just brought Sandy O'Connor, who ran the regulatory affairs at JP Morgan for like 30 years. She comes on board at Ripple 7 days before. I'm sure we know that Ripple knew about this, that this lawsuit was coming. So I'm pretty sure she probably knew too, because she knows all the people that matter in this whole space. So the other day when they hired her, I immediately went to Google and started Googling her to find out more about her. I also went to YouTube. And so when I was watching this video this morning and I saw Barbara Novick, Vice Chairman of BlackRock, it reminded me of something, because the other day when I was doing I never used it in a video, but when I was doing my YouTube search for Sandy O'Connor, found a video where she just happened to be in the video with this same woman, Barbara Novick. There she is. And that's Sandy O'Connor. So Barbara and Sandy,
do we have that balance right? Where have we not?
So my point is that all these people know each other. It's all connected. And all the world's a stage. And I think everything I've shown you in this video should make things pretty clear. It's clear to me. If you have not protected yourself from hackers yet, I've still got the link, this sale. I'm assuming they're going to run with this sale, Pure VPN. You can go There's a link and you can click on it and get 88% off to get a virtual private network on. It's just downloaded software. You can download it onto your computer, and then you can also put it on your phone so that you are from now on surfing the web, and you've got, and it basically masks your IP address and makes it look like you're surfing from anywhere you want to in the world to keep hackers away. The way hackers are everywhere right now. And so I highly recommend you get a VPN. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that the world is a stage, whether you want to believe it or not. Thanks for listening.